Today I'm going to take you through the latest addition to the Sandvik range, the new mobile QE341 scalper. For the last 10 years, the QE340 has been one of the best-selling mobile scalpers in the marketplace. To date, we've sold over 1,000 units. When the QE340 was first introduced, it was considered an engineering masterpiece. So why change? In Sandvik, we have an excellent design team. Our engineers are second to none. With the QE341, they've constructed a fantastic new model for you. But the QE341 has been designed by you, the customer. You asked for a machine with massive stockpiling capacity. We listened. You asked for a robust machine capable of handling the biggest in-feed material. We listened. You asked for a machine capable of huge throughput. We listened. You asked for a machine that was easy and safe to operate. We listened. Scalpers are often considered to be part of the screening family. But in Sandvik, we consider our scalpers to be part of the crusher family. The reason for that is that scalpers are asked to handle the same material that we feed to the crushers. I'm going to take you through some of the customer-designed features of the new QE341. And at the end of this presentation, hopefully you'll have a clear understanding of why the new QE341 is the ultimate screening, scalping, and stockpiling unit. Before we start, I want to remind you once again that safety is our top priority in Sandvik. Our machine should always be operated by a qualified operator with the appropriate safety gear. As I said, I'm going to take you through the unit from in-feed to output. We'll start with the hopper, then we'll look at the chassis design, followed by the Screenbox, the stockpile conveyors, and finally, the operator features. The QE341, like all our scalpers, is designed to operate before or after the crusher. In an application before the crusher, the QE341 needs to be able to handle the same material that you would feed into a crusher. And our crushers, our QJ341, for example, takes an in-feed material of up to 700 millimeters. The QE341 must handle the same material at the same feed rate. To put that into perspective, the crusher may well need 300 tons an hour of clean oversize material to keep it fed. That means up to 500 tons per hour of in-feed material for the scalper. That's a relentless hammering for any machine. In an application like this, obviously, a belt feeder is pointless. With the QE341, you get an apron feeder as standard. This is a heavy-duty feeder designed to handle the biggest of in-feed material at a high feed rate. Like I said, it's a standard feature. You do not pay extra for what we consider to be an essential feature of a scalper. Here you see a crusher a scalper removing the fines before the crusher. And that's primarily what a scalper needs to do in this type of application. We've strengthened the hopper. You now have a one-piece hopper, which is considerably reinforced and not only adds strength to the unit where it's needed, which is of course at the in-feed side, but also reduces your setup time when you get the machine on site. We've widened the outlet chutes on the hopper. Again, in terms of handling large material, the wider chute allows for a free flow of material onto the Screenbox. To work the machine after a crusher, we've added the crusher door. The reason for this is that when you're working a scalper like the QE341 after a crusher, you're really talking about one of the super heavy crushers. Now you're looking at a feed rate of possibly 500 tons per hour of maybe minus 250 mil material. Again, that eliminates the possibility of using a belt feeder. The crusher door allows you to feed the material onto our apron feeder rather than dropping it from a height. We talked about where the scalpers fit within Sandvik. We talked about the fact that we consider them to sit within the crusher family. The chassis design in particular reinforces this point. It's the same heavy-duty design as we use on our crushers. In fact, the QE341 chassis is interchangeable with our QJ241 35-ton jaw crusher. It also has the same undercarriage. The Screenbox, of course, is the heart of the machine. Our Screenbox operates at over 1,000 RPM with 9 millimeters of forward throw. It's designed to continue operating at this speed under full load. That's essential, of course, for a high production unit like this. The reason for the high throw is so that we can agitate even the stickiest of materials. And when you're using a scalper like this, you're normally handling sticky material. We don't get the easy jobs with the QE341 or any of our scalpers. The throw agitates the material, but further to that, you have 6 degrees of angle adjustment, and that allows you to cascade the material down the Screenbox at the correct rate, depending on how wet, sticky, or otherwise the material is. As with the feed hopper, we've also increased the discharge width on the Screenbox. So now you've got the larger material coming into your feed hopper, and the Screenbox continues that free flow of material to discharge onto the oversize belt. Talking about the stockpiling conveyors. There's no point in having a high throughput machine if you spend all your time clearing the stockpiles from underneath the machine or pushing stockpiles up against the machine, which is often the case with some of the scalpers with small stockpilers. Nobody ever accused the QE340 of having inadequate stockpile capacity. In fact, the QE340 was on the high side for the industry standard. We listened. 50% increase in stockpiling capacity. You asked for massive stockpiling capacity, and we listened. How did we deliver such a huge increase? We increased the height of the fines conveyor by 21 inches. That allows you now to stockpile up to 400 tons underneath your fines conveyor. That's a huge stockpile and allows for a long runtime before you have to clear conveyors. The fines belt alone on this machine is capable of delivering 600 tons per hour. To aid that, we've fitted a speed wheel to the fines collection belt under the Screenbox. And that speed wheel is designed to detect any oversurge of material and stop the hopper before that oversurge becomes an issue. So no more time spent digging out a Screenbox after you've overloaded the fines belt. The speed wheel will detect that issue before it becomes a problem, allowing you to continue operating without any intervention. The hopper will stop just long enough to allow the conveyor to clear itself and to handle the oversurge. There's no point in increasing the discharge height of a conveyor unless you also increase the length. The added length allows you to build a full cone underneath the fines conveyor without any interference with the machine. This is very important in terms of getting the full capacity under the conveyor, but also in terms of keeping the stockpile clear of the machine to allow for easy removal by a wheel loader. We've made similar improvements with the middles conveyor. Added length, added height, added ground clearance under the tail conveyor, rather under the tail drum. The middles conveyor is also angle adjustable on this unit. And the reason for that is to allow you to feed material into a cone. Again, rather than dropping the material, to feed the material. Lower your conveyor to get the correct height into the cone. Oversize conveyor. We talked about the widened chutes on the feeder. We talked about the widened chutes on the Screenbox, all of which is pointless unless you increase the width of the oversize conveyor, which we have done. So now you've got a free flow of material from in-feed to output with no bottlenecks, no funneling, therefore no possibility to cause a blockage. 8 inches wider the feed, rather 8 inches wider the reject belt on the QE341. The reject conveyor is also angle adjustable to allow you to feed a primary crusher. Again, we're talking about feeding it into the primary crusher rather than dropping it into the feeder. We spoke about user friendliness. You asked for a machine that was easy to operate. You asked for a machine that was safe to operate. More and more, the demand in the marketplace is for hands-off operation of these machines. Minimal operator intervention. We've delivered. We've designed a one-touch start-stop facility on the QE341, which means exactly that. One button to start the machine in sequence from takeaway conveyors right back to in-feed. One button to stop, again in sequence, importantly, allowing time for each conveyor to fully discharge before stopping. This is a very useful feature not only in a standalone machine, but even more so if you're operating in a train with primary, secondary crushers, perhaps secondary, tertiary screens. A simple touch and go to stop the machine, and you move on to your next machine. Another essential feature of our QE341 is a radio remote control. I say essential feature because within Sandvik we consider safety to be an absolute priority. With our standard radio remote control, you can operate the machine safely. You can track the machine with full 360 panoramic vision by walking with your radio remote control. If you're loading the machine onto the low bed, unloading the machine, setting up the machine in a train, you have full visibility of all the obstacles or people around the machine, making for a safe tracking operation with the radio remote control. There is, of course, also a backup that has a lead in the event that there's a problem with the radio. But a standard feature, you get the radio remote control and you have the backup. We also supply a start-stop remote control for the feeder operator. The operator has the remote control in the cab of the loader, and he can control starting or stopping the feeder on the QE341. Thereby, he can eliminate any issues, potential issues, before they become a problem, because he has full visibility from the cab and he's able to use the remote control without having to get up and down from the unit to intervene with the operation. As I said, we would walk through some of the customer design, some of the outstanding features on the new QE341. There are many other features which you'll get to know over the next couple of years as you operate the machine. But I hope for now you have a clearer understanding of what it is that makes the QE341 the most complete screening, scalping, and stockpiling machine on the market today. Thank you.